identified any piece of any individual, you laid it on that blanket. So when you got through, you had the remains segregated.
As best you could.
And if you could find their dog tags, you had that with it.
And those would have been sent back to the families, I presume. Yeah. Did you ever write the families?
No, I talked to one or two of them after the war.
Yeah.
Well, I would have no way of talking to them because I had no idea where they lived.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that couldn't be a pleasant. What was the most enjoyable thing you, if that was probably the worst thing or one of the worst things you did, what were some of the enjoyable things? Just the camaraderie, the pulling pranks?
Oh, yeah. And the scenery was wonderful.
Yeah.
We were flying over canyons there on the Yangtze River and on the Mekong. Those canyons would have made the Grand Canyon look like a little ditch. Grand Canyon is 5,000 feet deep. Those canyons were 10,000.
And I've seen the Grand Canyon, and it's overwhelming when you look down. I mean, a lot of times you can't even see the bottom. And
well, that saved
that's
my neck one time. It was getting towards dark, and I was flying west into the sunset. The sky was still pink in the west, but it was black in the east, and I saw two Japanese planes ahead of me. Well, I lost track of them because one of them went each way.
Oh gosh.
A few minutes later, here they came, one from each side coming after me. Well, fortunately, I was right over the Mekong River Canyon. It's about 10,000 feet deep. I just shoved the nose down and dove into the canyon. It was blacker than Dickens down there. But when I got down to the water, it was a lot of rapids in it. And there'd be a little white water on the rapids. So I could just fly from one white spot to another. I flew that way for, seemed like an hour, probably 10 minutes. But I knew they couldn't see me anymore because I had flown miles away. I pulled up and went home.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. You're probably just going, where'd he go? You know, we had him between us. We know we did.
Oh man.
No, I'm sure they figured out that's what you did, but there's nothing they could do.
Well,
they couldn't follow you.
They didn't want to follow me down there.
No, no. But you didn't have any choice but to do that, because if you would have stayed up, you would have been shot down. That's a pretty, you know, those canyon walls, I mean, you couldn't see the walls though, right?
Gosh.
Well, no, not during the night, but I stayed right over the river. I just went from one white rapids to another,
And
right down on the water.
And couldn't veer, because you knew if you veered either way.
I just stayed right on there, kept going north towards Tibet. After I'd been flying for quite a while, I knew they couldn't see me anymore, so I pulled up and went home.
It's a pretty incredible story.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you just need a whole lot of common sense over there to survive. Yeah. And even those pilots that were great pilots, some of them still didn't survive. Some of it was just luck, wasn't it, Dad?
Yes, sir.
Some of it was just luck over there. You said many times that you were on planes, scheduled to be on planes that didn't come back.
Yeah. When I first got over there, he scheduled me as co-pilot. And one morning I was scheduled to go out with Al Wright. And I got out of bed about 4:30 and went down to the mess hall to check in. My name had been crossed off the list. And another pilot's name was put on. He was one of the reserve captains, and they wanted to give him a route check on that particular route that day. So they booted me off, put him on. Well, he and Al never came back.
All right, yeah.
And then after that, they put me with one of the other captains, Mickelson. I flew with him day after day. And we put in long hours. The stinker, he was making me do all the flying. He'd go to sleep. He'd sleep all the time.
Yeah.
Finally, I just got to where I couldn't stay awake anymore.
Yeah.
And I told him, Mickey, I've got to get some sleep. He said, okay, you stay here tonight, and I'll pick you up when I come back tomorrow. He didn't come back.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you didn't do all the sleeping and let him fly.
Yeah. Didn't you say it? What was the longest you ever stayed in a plane at one time outside of refueling? Didn't you say it was?
Well, the longest flight I ever made wasn't all in one flight, but I put in 42 hours
Straight.
in the air in one mission.
Without sleep, 42 hours.
You said you'd go to sleep up there and just set it on
Oh, yeah, I used
autopilot.
to go to sleep flying.
Nobody with him, just put it on autopilot and he'd sleep.
Well, it wasn't any problem because I was so used to hearing those engines. Even when I was asleep, if I heard the slightest change, if the nose went down, the power, it would increase, the speed would increase. And I would hear that. Or if the nose came up, it would diminish. I could tell that by listening to it. But even when I was asleep, I heard it. So I would just fly by sound.
Jeez, I don't know. I'd fallen too deep of a sleep, and I think
Yeah,
I'd be in
I'd
trouble.
No,
You'd be in big trouble.
You had a tendency to keep from going to sleep.
Oh yeah.
You stayed away from the deep sleep, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the only one in the plane, you can't exactly
Yeah.
do anything else, I suppose. But
Well, I wasn't the only one on the plane most of the time, but I had a lot of Chinese co-pilots that couldn't fly, and they couldn't speak English.
Oh, that's an awesome
We
co-pilot.
like to have them in the airplane for one reason. They had a set of eyes, and they could keep their eye out that window looking for Jap planes. The second thing, if you lost an engine, you needed somebody to go to the back and throw cargo out to lighten the weight. So that's why we like to have co-pilots on, whether they can fly or not.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's true.
co-pilot was a very loose term, wasn't it? but
Well,
just
a few
another
of them could
body.
fly, but
Just
most of
another
them
body.
couldn't.
Yeah.
Most all of them could fly it straight and level and hold the wheel, but they couldn't make a takeoff or landing.
Well, even I could have done that, Dad.
I was gonna say.
Well,
I remember you used to let me do that in our little plane.
but not in that airplane.
No, we had a little plane. You're right. Yeah.
No, some of those planes were pretty good size. The last one I was flying weighed 50 tons,
C-46.
4,000 horsepower,
50 tons. Wow.
cruised at 300 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah. Good plane. They were the workhorse.
No, that one wasn't. That one had a bad reputation
Really?
because it was brought into action before they'd had time to test it much.
Oh.
It had a lot of bugs in it. The C-47 was the workhorse.
Oh, okay.
That was the one that I spent thousands of hours in that old girl.
You have your diary here. I want to show it to the kids. Where is it in here?
No, it's over here in the drawer.
The closet or the drawer?
Down in the bottom drawer.
Are you still recording?
Yeah.
Mom, he's still recording or something.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I can stop anytime.